I'm Leon Scott, and I'm working to close the wealth gap. What I'm teaching my kids this week about money, the 5 accounts that all people should have. Okay, so if you are one of the handful of people who've watched my channel, you're going to notice a change in the format. I really enjoy the editing of videos and putting music with it, but it takes time, and we haven't really gotten any proof that there's a lot of value for that. So we're taking this back to pretty much unedited videos of information that I'm finding important to share with my kids, and hopefully will prove to be important in sharing with yours so we can work together to close the wealth gap. All right. So still, if you find it valuable, like, subscribe, share it, because if I start getting feedback that it's valuable, then I might add a few more frills to the content. But this video is specifically inspired by a video I watched this week on YouTube by a gentleman named Prince Donnell. I believe is a CPA, and he was going through the 5 accounts that every small business should have. And the method that, or the pattern that I saw in what he was presenting, was that he was focusing on the income statement. So a business creates its income or its revenue by sales of its service or product. And then they have their raw material costs that they have to consider. That's called the cost of goods, the bare minimum that you need to build what it is your business sells. After you move that, what you're left with is your gross margin or your gross profit. Then what businesses do is they pay for marketing, and they pay for research and development of new products, and they pay their employees, and they pay their utility bills and their rent bills. And at the end, they're left with the operating margin or operating profit. That is frequently what companies are taxed off of down here. So what Prince Donnell was suggesting in a large part was create accounts that hold your marketing, that hold your research and development. When you get money, put it automatically into these accounts for 2 purposes. One, so you have the money already pulled aside for your marketing, so you don't have to try and find it or finagle yourself into pulling it from something else. It's already pulled aside. But number 2, very smart, I really thought this was clever, because then you can use it all. It's a tax write-off. You're supposed to use that money. That way your ultimate tax burden is smaller. Now this is important for companies because they're taxed down here based off of the operating profit and margins, their earnings essentially. There are more details to it, but just go with that for right now. But people typically accept getting taxed up here. After you get your income from your job, you usually have your taxes taken out so that you don't have to think about it, I guess. Is kind of the main thing. You don't have to, you already have the withholdings taken out. But we can still use, even though people are taxed differently, we can still use this concept of the income statement to help us become wealthy. Now, it's unique though, because you probably don't have a personal marketing budget. You probably don't have your own research and development team working on researching and developing how to make you a better person. You do have utilities and bills, but we essentially take all this stuff away, and we aren't creating our accounts here. Ooh, my neighbors are here. We don't make our accounts based off of these requirements. We actually focus on the stuff up here, the equivalent of the cost of goods for you as an individual. What is that here? Let me show you. Instead of the raw materials for your business, personally, what you need to do is put money aside for your own betterment in the future. That's what I call the PYF, the pay yourself first. So what goes in the pay yourself first accounts? Well, these are where we're going to find 4 of the accounts that all people should set up. One of them is the emergency account. The emergency account is for emergencies, because your car is going to break down, someone's going to get sick, you might lose your job, and you need money pulled aside to help protect you. How much? Somewhere between 3 months and 6 months is what most people recommend. 3 months salary is not easy to do. If you're putting in money, you may only have a small amount. I recommend you make sure you can put at least $50 a month into an emergency account automatically. Set up a direct deposit, talk to your bank, and have that money automatically coming out. You don't even want to have to think about what to do with it. It just needs to sit in your emergency account. $50 a month or up to a quarter of your paycheck, so that over the course of a year with that last strategy, you'll end up with 3 months of salary sitting in it. And that's because 12 months in a year. So do what you can, but it's got to be a minimum of $50 a month, up to a quarter of your paycheck per month, automatically direct deposited into a separate account, paying yourself first, giving yourself an emergency buffer. Awesome. What's the second account? The second account, we're going to go with your retirement accounts. Yeah, we'll do that one next. Your retirement accounts include your 403B if you work for a nonprofit, your 401k if you work for an at-profit, your IRAs, individual retirement accounts. So that's right there. Those accounts are important because that's the money you're putting away for yourself for when you get close to retirement. 59 and a half years old, you want to be able to access this money and have it already squirreled away so that when winter comes, using the analogy of a squirrel, you have resources tucked away. Many of these, like the 403B, 401k, standard IRA, can be pre-tax, so that can come out and not have an impact on your taxable income. So that's great. And you often can get this matched by your employer to a certain extent. So utilize that. Now, why would you pick a 401k over like an IRA, or especially like a Roth IRA? That may have to do with your income bracket, but just to keep it simple, set up a 401k, set up a 403b with your employer, put money in it each month, have them match it. The minimum you want to put in, sure, $50 a month. That sounds good, but try and make your minimum what your employer will match. That way they match it. Now, for IRAs, the maximum per year you can put in for a Roth IRA at least is $6,000 a year. So that would be $500 a month that you can put in. For a 403b or 401k, I believe the max is just over $19,000 a year, so somewhere in the range of $1,600 to max that out. So yeah, as low as $50, but really as low as your employer will match, up to $500 a month for your IRA, and up to $1,600 a month for your 401k or 403b. That is account number 2. Great. What's account number 3? Well, account number 3 is your standard brokerage account. So the retirement accounts are investable accounts. They don't just sit there and grow like they're sitting in a bank. Those monies you put in go into the stock market, and they start getting used, and hopefully they grow and create even more money for you at retirement than you would have had if you just put money away into a bank account. A brokerage account, a standard brokerage account, is your investment account. So brokerage, B-R-O-K, that is way too small, but there it is, brokerage account. These are your Fidelities, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Webull, Robinhood. And this is what allows you to trade stocks. Now we're gonna there's gonna be a video for my kids, especially on how we invest, how we think about stocks and bonds and other equities. And do we trade them? Do we buy and hold them? That's gonna be an upcoming video. I'm really excited to share that information because I have a strategy that I just think makes it easy for everyone to be successful. So, but back to the main point of this video, you need to set up a brokerage account with one of those firms. I have a video on that. I'm definitely going to link that video. It costs you it's free to set these things up. You can start trading with as little as $1 with certain groups using fractional shares. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And you can set up direct deposit into these also. So, you need this to pay yourself first, and so you can gain access to the stock market's benefits, equity benefits, before 59 and a half. This is money you can start using now if you needed it. Great. Account number 4. This one is, I'm making it up a little bit. So this one is called the down payment account. This will be like your emergency account, another account you set up with your personal bank. There is a fancy way where you can set up a Roth IRA to be this, but let's just keep it simple. You're probably going to set this up with your bank. And you want this direct deposit, minimum of $50 a month going in, but truly, I think you want to put about 10% of your income into this. 10% of your salary each month should go into your down payment account. What is the, so down payment account, all right. So what is the down payment account for? It's so you can buy a house and a car, because these houses ain't cheap no more, man. Like, who has, for $1 million home, you need 20% down? Who has $200,000 just floating around? Like, I make good money. I don't have that just sitting around. And when I get close to it, prices go up. It's crazy. So, of course, everyone wants to give me a mortgage with no money down because of the type of work I do. I can get this much money for free with no insurance needed. But then I'm just going to be straddled with paying someone's interest. So get a down payment. Save for your down payment. And that is the 4th of these 5 accounts. So if we use that income statement analogy of getting income and then paying yourself first with your emergency accounts, with your retirement accounts, with your standard brokerage account and your down payment account, 10% of your income going into that, what you're left with is your personal gross margin or gross profit, like a business, right? So now you pay for your marketing expenses, right? No, people don't have that. What people have are bills. But this is what's so important. When you pay yourself first, what you're left with, that's what you budget off of. You move into an apartment that you can afford based off of what's left, okay? So the operating expense is your rent, it's your phone, it's your dry cleaning bill, your car note. If you are leasing a car, your car bill there. Thankfully, my car, I own it all, so I'm not paying that. So you make decisions on where you live and how much you spend, what you eat, what you pay for your groceries, where you go grocery shopping, and how frequently you go out. That's based off of your remaining gross margin. Did I say margin? This is market. Golly. I wrote margin and profit in my mind and wrote market. So your gross margin. So it's not based off your salary. You make a salary. Then you pay yourself first in your emergency accounts, your retirement accounts, your brokerage accounts, your down payment account, at least $50 a month, at least what your employer will match, up to $500 to $1,600 a month, depending on the type of retirement account. Brokerage account, at least $50 a month, and that down payment, at least 10% of your income. And what you're left with is your gross margin. That's what you make the rest of your budgets off of. So you make an account for your gross margin. And those are the 5 accounts. You have your 1 for everything else and your 4 for paying yourself first. That's how you generate wealth, or that's how you get yourself on the path for generating wealth for the future. That's how wealthy people do it. That's how I do it. I'm not saying I'm wealthy yet, but I ain't that far from it. That's how my kids will be taught to do it. My kids are 7 and 4. And they're already, you can probably see this little video behind us, they're already separating their money that they earn in something called the knowledge banks. It's crucial that we separate this money with a mechanism like direct deposit, so you don't even have to see it, and you just get rich in the background. All right, I hope that's helpful to everyone. I know this is a long video, no edits coming. If it's valuable, like, subscribe, share. Maybe I'll start editing the videos again. If I don't need to, then I won't, because it takes time. All right, y'all. Have a great one. Love y'all. Bye.